welcome to Gzero Sports. I am your guy, Almighty Mack, and today let's talk about Super Bowl 50 and the biggest assault that ever happened in Super Bowl history. The biggest assault in Super Bowl history, which happened to happen on Cam Newton, okay? The biggest assault in Super Bowl history was on Cam Newton. The biggest fraudulent charge in history should be against. They should be charged with fraud and locked up for 100,000 years for the way the offensive line of the Carolina Panthers blocked for Cam Newton. This does not erase Cam Newton's inefficiency to hit wide open targets, but during that game, the man virtually had no time to throw the ball. So let's step into it. The Carolina Panthers got basically stomped across the field with no retribution and no chance. 24-10, they lost. The score doesn't seem as bad. Ron Rivera kept that defense pretty focused throughout the game. Although the Denver Broncos defense played masterful, okay? The Denver Broncos defense sacked Cam Newton at will. They put pressure on the quarterback. They stopped the running game. There was a lot that the defense did, and they caused a lot of turnovers. But the defense of the Carolina Panthers played pretty decent given what they were given. They were always put on a short field. They had no time to basically recover and get any wind, okay? So while they were trying to recover, the ball was already back in the Broncos' hands. So they had to go back on the field all the time. They played the whole game, okay? So defense was on the field the entire game. And Gary Kubiak, he had a nice offensive scheme. But the Carolina Panthers played some pretty solid defense throughout this game. Cam Newton, the biggest assault in history, sacked 6 times. No time to throw the ball. It was just bad. He threw 1 interception. He threw for 265 yards, though, okay? So he was 18-41. But it was just a bad outing. That was the worst offensive blocking performance I have ever seen in pro football in my entire life. And I'm pretty sure it's the same for a lot of football fans that are across the board when it came to that game, because I kind of thought the Carolina Panthers had a chance. But as soon as the game started, you saw that they didn't. It was over from the gate. It kind of looked like the Broncos against the Seahawks back when that game happened. Yeah. When that hit on Demaryius Thomas, second play of the game? Yeah, that was ugly. And it started from there. You look, Peyton Manning did not have a good game, okay? Peyton Manning was 13 of 23 for 141 yards, and he had an interception, okay? He was sacked 5 times. Nobody remembers this part about the game. Cam Newton was sacked 6 times, but Peyton Manning was sacked 5 times. Nobody talks about this. When I say the Carolina Panthers played a very solid game on defense, they played a very solid game on defense, okay? Peyton Manning had a terrible game, but C.J. Anderson provided that outlet for that offense while Cam Newton was beaten and battered across the board. He had no time to throw the ball. DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller almost made themselves legends that same night. That was a legendary defensive performance by the Broncos and the biggest assault against Cam Newton. C.J. Anderson, he had a steady game. He had 23 carries for 90 yards and a touchdown. And what C.J. Anderson did was he was a master on the 2nd and long and the 3rd and short. For some reason, the Panthers had no answer for C.J. Anderson when it became late in the stretch in the game. So when the 3rd and 4th quarter came, C.J. Anderson heated up like he was supposed to, like most running backs are supposed to do, which pounded the defense, and it kept them on the field. So it extended the drives. So you're having Peyton Manning with 7-minute drives. That defense is on the field. They go off the field for maybe a minute. Cam Newton is sacked. There's fumbles. There's interceptions. They're called right back. Despite all that, the defense played a pretty solid game, okay? Besides the 6 sacks that Cam Newton took, Peyton Manning took 5 sacks. Now the rest of the game, man, you just got to put it on the offensive line. Like, you guys played a terrible game. Those tackles needed to be fired and banned from the NFL and charged with being a fraud offensive lineman, okay, and locked up for 100,000 years. What he went through in that game, I pretty much, like, Cam Newton has never been the same. So he was never really an elite quarterback to begin with. But you dropped him below average. After that game, he never recovered. We never seen Cam Newton again. All right? But the biggest assault in history and the biggest fraudulent talk in history went down in both ways, okay, where they say the Panthers defense gave up. That was the biggest fraudulent statement that ever happened with that Super Bowl. Cam Newton was destroyed was the most factual statement of the Super Bowl. Okay, he had a terrible game. Peyton Manning had a terrible game. That part was never spoken about. The part about the Panthers defense, never spoken about, okay? Remember, Panthers had 5 sacks, Broncos had 6. 24-10 was the score. Peyton Manning did not have a good game. He didn't even throw a touchdown. He threw an interception just like Cam Newton did. But there were more turnovers. The Panthers had 3 turnovers. The Broncos had 1. That's the deciding factors when it comes to games this big and the competition level that high and the stakes that high. One mistake can end it all. But they had 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, and then a plethora of sacks. It was all bad. Biggest assault in history done on Cam Newton. I am Almighty Mack. One more thing about this is the biggest fraudulent statement of that entire Super Bowl was that the Panthers defense gave up. The Panthers defense played their asses off, man. And they knocked heads all night with the Broncos. Sacked Peyton Manning 5 times. Remember that part. So when you say that defense gave up, you need to go back and look at the game and look at the stats, okay? We're not talking about stats. Look at performance-wise. The defense played pretty solid. Cam Newton, you got your ass toe up and you've never been the same. You know, you can talk all this, well, they had a chance. Man, they ain't had no chance in hell to win that game, okay? There was nothing that was going to happen that was written in the stars for them to win that game, okay? So, I'm Almighty Mack. Leave a comment, drop a like. Let me know what you think. Do you think the biggest assault in history happened along with the biggest fraudulent statement in history all in one game? Do you think that is what happened, or do you think it happened the way it needed to and the Panthers defense didn't play good? If you can rebuttal what the Panthers did, man, please just let me know. Let's have a good old discussion about it, and let's talk turkey. I'm Almighty Mack. This is Gzero Sports.
Yeah. You hear me?